so much fun to be a fan of this band. And I remember the first time I met you was at the Troubadour, and you guys were playing this amazing set. And I remember thinking, I want to take the journey with this band. I want to be the person who champions this band in my writing, among friends, alone. This is my band. And I'm not alone. You've had that relationship with fans all along. And did that start early on where fans just really stuck with you and felt something early on?
Man, yeah, I mean, it's so cool because everything takes so long. And I'm not a very patient person. I've been trying to be more and more patient. And I think that's the thing I try to tell new bands when they ask for advice or whatever. It's like, you gotta be patient. You know, you gotta play the long game.
Wow.
Because it's, yeah, I feel like we're so lucky that, like, yeah, people who were among the first few people who ever saw us still come and see us, you know, and the journey is wild because our first record came out in 99 or whatever, you know. It's just like, it's crazy it's been so long, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like but it's cool to see in the scope of things too how short it has been, you know, because then you see bands like Yo La Tengo and the Flaming Lips that have been going for 30, 40 years. Then you see the Stones still going, you know, like just still crushing it. And man, your career and what you've done too has just like meant so much to me and to us. And to have you come to the fucking Troubadour in 2002, because Almost Famous was so fresh.
Yeah.
And we were so fucking moved by Almost Famous and so moved by your writing and your whole thing. So then when you showed up, you know, it's just like, it was one of those real first moments in my life when I was like, whoa, is this rock and roll dream maybe gonna come true or something? You know, just the fact that you cared meant so much to us because you've seen it all. You know, you're kind of like Austin City Limits condensed into one person or whatever. You've seen so much, you know, and it's like that. I can't tell you how much that meant to us. And then when you came to Shelbyville and you came to Kentucky to hang out with us, that was so fun and so beautiful. And
I immediately started interviewing you then for no assignment, nothing. I just like, can I turn my tape recorder on and just talk to you? And that was amazing. I listened to that recently, and it's like you really gave your all trying to explain.
Well, you still have all those
why
tapes
you were
and
there.
stuff?
Oh yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you and me in the car and stuff.
Yeah,
amazing. The thing that's so great is the songs all feel so fresh and passionate. So when you say, when I talk to younger bands or something, I think like, but you feel like you're just getting started.
Thanks.
You guys do. Even tonight, playing, you know, beloved songs from all parts of the career. It all felt fresh.
Thank
and
you so
you do that. So clearly this is something that touches you in such a galvanizing way. Like you love to create. Yeah. It seems, because that is the elixir in the room.
Well, I mean, God, music. I mean, everybody in this room knows it's like music is the wall of God. You know, music is the fountain of youth. You know, music is everything. I think music is a reminder of our true consciousness, our true form of where we all come from beyond the human experience. You know, because the human experience is beautiful and it's important and it's amazing, but there's something way, way bigger beyond all of it. You know, that I think if we got all the answers, this whole thing would be pointless. You know, coming here and being humans would be pointless.
Yeah.
But I feel like the universe and our true nature and our true soul's material or whatever gives us little hints in music, you know, or in love itself. You know, it's like a little hint, like, don't forget, this is what it's really like.
Yeah.
And I know this is hard and weird, and being a human is so weird, but don't forget, we'll see you on the other side. You know, here's a little taste of the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really feel like music is the fountain of youth too, because I just feel like music, I feel more alive and more plugged in than I ever have in my life. And I see when I watch those videos of myself from so long ago, it's insane. You know, it's like, I feel like I'm watching a child, you know, but in a way that I love, you know, because I used to have such a hard time with myself, and I have struggled with depression. I hated myself most of my life.
Wow.
And I always beat myself up. And I watched Jim tonight on that screen when the video was playing. And I was just like, I wanted to give him a hug. I was like, oh, you little rascal. You know, I just wanted to like scrub his head and be like, thanks, buddy, for keeping us alive, you know, because it could have gone a million different ways, but we're still here, you know, and that's something that I think about with the band now, we've got just this tremendous new sense of gratitude and togetherness. You know, it's like everybody's been on their own journey of ups and downs and healing and all the growth that all the guys in the band have done and the growth that I've done and just all the work we've done. It really does feel like we've created a new world that's fresher than ever, you know, and it really is like so inspiring to look at people like Joni Mitchell at the Hollywood Bowl, you know, like seeing somebody, boom, like Joni Mitchell's like watching a sequoia tree or something. You know, it's like the power, her power is just like coming off the stage. And it's like, she is as fresh as she ever was, you know, and that thing to me, or seeing the Stones. I mean, whenever I see the Stones and I see Mick and Keith and Ronnie up there, and I'm so glad I got to see Charlie before he passed, and just seeing them, like, they are not a bunch of old guys going through the motions. They're the greatest rock and roll band of all time, and they're still fucking playing, and they're 80 years old, and they don't give a shit. You know, it's like Keith's guitar rips a hole in the middle of your head, you know, and Mick's still a fucking ballerina out there. You know, it's just like, it is so inspiring, and I try to like tell everybody that, like, don't give up. Don't getting old is an illusion. It's a myth, and we can't help it if bad health things happen. You know, nobody can help certain things that may happen. But those things aside, if we can stay plugged in to whatever it is that we love, that's how you stay young forever.
It's so true.
It's so powerful, and we're so lucky to have music.
What kept young Jim, the guy you want to hug tonight, what kept him going when you first hit the ACL stage?
God, drinking. You know, honestly.
It works.
I've done a lot of work with my alcoholism, and I've done a lot of work with that old Jim, and I was an alcoholic for most of my life, and I quit drinking 3 years ago, and I've done a lot of work with the drunk part of myself, where I really found him and thanked him, because without him I would have killed myself a long time ago. And I feel like the drunk version of me somehow kept me alive. You know, it's like because I could escape, and whenever I would get drunk, I have a genetic disposition that I can drink so much. I can drink a bottle of tequila and 20 Miller Lights, and it's 9 a.m. All the 25-year-olds are home in bed, and I'm still like blasting XL on Main Street or whatever. You know, it's like, and I had so much fun, and I don't have any regrets, but I saw eventually that it was going to kill me. You know, it's a class tale as old as time, drugs and alcohol. You know? And I had to come real with myself and see, I had a vision of myself, and I was just like, I had to get real with myself and say, like, Jim, how can you ever hope to be peaceful or happy if you're drinking yourself to death? Like, if this piece doesn't go, you have no right to complain. You have no right to be bitching about how lonely you are, how depressed you are, if you keep continually drinking yourself to death. You know, and that was a big thing. But when I look at that young Jim, he was in so much pain. He was constantly in pain and constantly just wanting to get out of here. And if he didn't have the alcohol, he would have. You know, so I'm really grateful for that. And music too, obviously, but it's like, music is so weird, because it's like, being on tour is so incredibly lonely, because the 2 hours you play is amazing, and then there's 22 other hours in the day where you're just staring into the void. And if you haven't learned how to stare into the void properly, that's why the drugs, alcohol thing, I feel like, is so commonplace.
When you sing the songs, do you feel the poetry of that younger Jim that was struggling but managed to write those songs at the same time?
I do. I struggle with it, but I'm getting better at that. You and I had a conversation about that at Brian Wilson's funeral when we were talking about all the magnificent things he created. And so much of my life I've spent feeling like a failure. You know, I feel like I never have created a Pet Sounds, or I've never created a Blood on the Tracks, or I've never created, you know, those records. And that doesn't mean that I'm not proud of what I've done, because I am proud of what Jim has done over his life, but it's been so hard because I'm always so ruthless on myself and so critical of myself. But in the last 4 or 5 years, and I've quit drinking, and I've had some really profound ayahuasca experiences and ketamine experiences, and I found a therapist that I've been doing parts work and EMDR, and all these things combined. It's like, I've learned to hold Jim with more care and respect and love him, you know, and tell him like, nice job, but you're doing okay. you're doing your best. You can't compare things. You know, all of us get caught in that trap of comparison. You know, it's such a deadly, horrific trap, but we all fall into it, and it's hard too when the world is constantly, especially with the fucking numbers game. I mean, it's like you all came up, a lot of us before the internet. You know, we slid right in as the garage door of the internet came down.
That's right.
You know, it's like right under the internet, and now everything is quantified, and everything constantly tells you, oh, you only got 36,892 views, but this other band got 800,097 views, right? And you're just like, we're not good enough. You know, and you really have to like blow through all of that somehow, which is getting easier the more peace I can find for myself. That stuff gets easier.
I think you waved the flag. This band, and to me, I think, dare I say, I think you've always waved the flag for the music that was made that didn't look in that direction. The music that was made because of all the great stuff that happens when you write something that says it right and you feel alive, and that song is on my new album. You know what I mean? Like that kind of music just feels a little different. And this band has always been about that. It's like that Quincy Jones thing of like, when commerce enters the room, God leaves the studio.
Yep.
And so I feel like God never left the My Morning Jack sessions.
Well,
he was always there. She was always there. And you served that version of what rock music meant. But that's a fan's point of view.
Well, thanks. That means a lot. It's funny, even on a night, even tonight, there's that thing that Quincy Jones said, and it's not always commerce, but it's like the force of evil or whatever starts to come in and starts to say like, oh, you're not doing very good. Oh, you're not, that doesn't sound very good or whatever. And I have to like shift it out, and I have to like relax.
Wow.
And once I relax, it's like then the wall of God's hitting me again, and then I forget in the best way. You know, I forget, and not everything becomes music. You know, and everything is just, you're lost in that wall of God or whatever. And really, everybody is in the room is one. You know, everybody really is one, except if people are on some trip. You know, if there's somebody's stressing about
really
something,
true.
Or somebody's hating themselves about something, or somebody's fucking, those hateful, hard energies take us out of the wall of God or whatever. And I feel like that when we can forget and all go back in, I mean, I think that's why we all love live music so much, because we can touch our true essence again, you know, and feel that oneness, feel that togetherness, you know, and stop tripping. But it's funny, just even in the course of a show, it's really like Star Wars or something, and you're just like battling those evil energies or whatever, trying to find the force and stay with the force.
So when we see you in a moment like that on stage, you're in it emotionally.
Oh yeah, it's you probably can't tell from the outside, but it's song to song, night to night. It's a battle. You know, it's sometimes I win. Some nights are great, and it's all transcendence, and other nights it's all misery, and most nights it's somewhere in between.
Wow. But would I be wrong in saying it's always real? To some extent?
It is always real, yeah, because I feel like that's something that we all try to be really good to ourselves about, and that's something I've always been really good to Jim about as I look back at him over the years. I know he was trying his best.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know he was really trying to be real and trying to come at it with nothing but good intentions and nothing but everything he had in the moment, and that definitely makes it easier when I look back at it all. Because I know I was trying hard, even if I was suffering and I don't feel like I did a good enough job.
What was the moment of change where you...
It was really pieces of the puzzle. It was like in the pandemic, I found a therapist that I really, really connected with.
Mm-hmm.
And he almost felt like a big brother that I never had or something. And we started doing EMDR therapy and parts work. That started really happening. And then I did ayahuasca for the first time around them. And that really opened some big doors. And then like after a couple of years of that resulted in me quitting drinking. And once that started going, that opened more and more doors. And doing the ketamine therapy really connected me with the death space. Like I think one of the most important ways for people to change, sadly, is a near-death experience. I think we
Right.
all know people in our lives that will never change, no matter how much they keep complaining about the same thing and no matter how much you try to help them or whatever, they just can't hear it.
Yeah.
Unless they get hit by a bus and survive. And then they see God and they see everything and they're like, oh, God, I was so wrong. And I feel like the psychedelic experiences in a therapeutic way, and I don't feel like psychedelic drugs solve all your problems or you're going to go do ayahuasca and then everything's great. But I feel like when they're put into the proper context with therapy and with sobriety from alcohol and these kind of things, I really feel like you can get your fucking boots knocked off in this near-death way where you come back from it and you're like, oh my God, man, what the fuck have I been doing? And I think about the state of the world right now and these poor, sad men that are destroying the world right now, and you look at them and you see the deep pain, the deep suffering in them, and like you look at the guy who's president right now and you see his horrific suffering. The vibrations coming off him are so sad. And I feel like we have to hold each other in this way of like not condoning anybody's terrible actions, but trying to see through the anger to the heart of this person or whatever. Because can you imagine if he had some experience that changed him so profoundly that he came back and he was like, I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry that I've been so terrible to everybody. That would be unbelievable for the world to see. Like if he somehow faced his demons and got correct, that would be unbelievable. It's like, so I'm kind of praying for that. I'm praying for that kind of universal healing for these sad men that are like trying to destroy the world and trying to force it to be as they want it to be. It's like, I feel like somebody needs to give those dudes a hug and tell them it's okay, man. It's okay.
I'm with you, man.
It's okay. Chill out. Let's go work on this.
All about the hug theory. Just like the fun of the fact that this was recorded tonight, and from a seat in the audience, an amazing show. But from the eye of the hurricane, for us to look at when we see the show later, what were the moments for you where you thought either I'm in it, this is us at our best, or I'm lost, or what were some of the, didn't look like that happened, but like were there points in, what are the points of the show where you were feeling more than usual?
That's a really good question. It's funny because I feel like we all are so lucky that we got really, really good work ethics from our fathers and our mothers, and I feel like, so we've got this thing where it's like the show does not stop, no matter what happens, the show must go on, and it's like like when we first started, we were playing out in the open and my pack was like so low, I could barely hear anything. So you're like, it's all of this pressure, all of these people and the cameras are on and you're like trying to figure out, trying to get your pack turned up or those. So you're like, that's an example of like the lightsabers out and in my head I'm battling the demons, trying to find the force, and eventually I found it somewhere in there. But the goal of that is I hope nobody notices, and that's the great thing about a multi-camera shoot too, is like if there's an instance where I'm fucking with that, you can cut to somebody else or whatever. And hopefully the performance was good and it felt good. But there's some beautiful moments where I feel like we fell into some beautiful wall of God moments, that just kind of, it's hard for me to remember a show, and that's a good thing. The less I can remember, the better.
Cool.
I know, because you told me recently when we were hanging out at Brian's memorial, one thing that you're working on. Do you want to talk about that, or what are you working on that's truly exciting you right now?
Well, it's fun to talk about it with you because not unlike what you're able to do, creating a feel is everything. And if you can create an environment where somebody you invite into the experience feels something as a result of what the character or the song or whatever you've done, that's my favorite thing.
Yep.
When you meet a character that makes you miss him when the movie's over and
Yep.
you don't get to see that character again, that's everything for me. So I've been writing a bunch of stuff that I think takes us to that place. One is a memoir of like the early years when I was just learning to be a journalist and writing about my family and living in San Diego and stuff. That was something that I too started around the pandemic, just for pure love of writing.
Yep.
And that's going to come out as a memoir called
nice.
The Uncool,
Oh, that's cool.
which I got to send you a copy, man. It's
Please do.
there's,
Please do.
There's a lot about
I
music
love
in
that
there.
phrase, by the way, the uncool. I love that Philip Seymour Hoffman scene in Almost Famous, when he's talking to you. I mean,
Yeah.
I just love that. I can't wait to read it.
Well, that Philip Seymour Hoffman speech was based on the real Lester Bangs,
Right.
who said it completely differently.
Right.
He was kind of a big, Rob Reiner, who was like a star on All in the Family. I remember when the actor and now director Rob Reiner was kind of big on TV when I first met Lester, and I was like, he looks like Rob Reiner, and he talked like that too. Like he moved his hands around a lot and say like, "Don't you get it? We're the uncool, man. We're from San Diego.
Right.
Who's kidding who here?
Right.
Come
Right.
on." And he was a little bit more of that.
Right.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman tried that scene where he gives a speech to the kid and says, "We are the uncool." He tried it like that and said, "Can I talk to you for a sec?" And we went off to the side and he goes, "I'd like to do that scene like we're the only two people awake in the world."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
And he did.
Guys, we're doing it differently.
Right.
And he did it like that.
Oh,
And that's
so
when you
beautiful.
go, okay, the thing that you do in a room where you write when you're all alone and you imagine what it's going to be is just getting you to the point where you can give the stuff to somebody like that who says,
Yep.
I know what to do with it.
Yep.
And that's what a Philip Seymour Hoffman will give you.
Yep.
The other thing I've been working on is a movie about and with Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
And that's a lot about the process of making music and living a life filled with music. What do you write about? What do you live? Who are the characters that helped you? And opened a door for you along the way, and didn't imagine they'd ever be remembered, but they're totally remembered.
Right.
And Joni Mitchell has quite a few of those characters in her past, great characters, and so I've
Oh
had
my
fun
God! What a
working
life.
on that.
I
So
bet.
that's a great movie about music that's very different from Almost Famous, but still about feel and tunings and just creating an environment with your music.
Have you
Which is
had
what
any
you do.
more thought about the whole spectrum of Joni? Like if you're going to try to go for multiple people playing multiple Jonies, or is it going to be some kind of other thing, or is that still not kind of figured out yet?
I think we're figuring it out because there's a lot of life to cover,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of music that I know will give you kind of a body rush to experience in a movie context.
Yeah.
And I still love movies. I love going to the theater and seeing a movie and immersing people with your own little radio station where you can play what you want and it'll sound as good as it ever will sound.
Yep.
And you can take people on a journey that way.
Cinema's the same as music in that way, don't you feel like? It's like
Yes.
when you're lost in those moments in a great film, it's the same as being lost in a great song or whatever. And I love that film often has the song tucked into the moment or whatever, that you do so well, that when the director can choose the perfect song for the perfect moment and you are in that fucking, like, you're gone. I love that feeling when you go into a film and you're gone. It is unbelievable.
And I just want to say that, like, not every song needs cinema to be cinematic. I mean, not every song, if you put film on it, like one of your songs, I will be there when you die. I've told you this. Like, there's 2 movies I've tried to put that in,
Right.
and it's actually a movie on its own. It doesn't need me. Every time I try and use it, it kind of slaps me aside and says, "Leave me alone. This lives as Jim made it, and it does not need film to be more powerful to anybody or anything. That it's a standalone." So you find something that, like, you can match somehow, and that marriage of cinema and music is the best.
Yeah.
So I'm always about, like, where can we build that dish into the meal that we get to serve. Well, I'm honored I got to be a part of this tonight and see the show and say a little something about how I feel about your band. And what happened was I got to sit down and see one of the great sets by My Morning Jacket. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done too.
Likewise.
We
get to do this together.
So tickled to be here. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Always looking for a project I can work on with you, Jim.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Yeah, man.
Anytime. Thanks, bud.
Thank you.